So, we're going to make something today. Do you want to guess what it is? Okay. Okay. It takes salt and some vitamins. Do you know what it is yet? I'll give you another clue. Phosphorus. It takes phosphorus. Do you know yet? Okay, I'll give you some more clues. Some sugar and some flour. Have you guessed yet? Well, if I show you this last thing, you'll know for sure. Okay, I'll show you. I'm going to try to make a banana. So meet me in the Wonder Room, and we'll work on that, okay? So good to see you again. Come up for a visit, my friend. There's so much to do. I have so many things planned for you. We'll laugh and we'll play. We'll sing and we'll pray. I'll tell you a story or two. And we'll be friends, you and I. Yes, you and I and Jesus. I'm happy you're here once again. It's so nice to have you as my friend. Let's talk about our mystery word first, okay? Remember the key words come on this side. The important letter jumps right over into the correct spot of the mystery word, and I want you to see how quickly you can guess what this word is, okay? Now, if we're going to make our banana, I figured the wisest thing to do would be to get out a nice nutrition book, and I looked up banana, and I'm just going to try and guesstimate how much of each ingredient to put in. The carbohydrate seems to be the largest part of the banana, so I'm using flour and sugar for that, and I've already got the flour in, and I've already got most of the sugar, and I think I need about 1 more spoonful. And then there's a fair bit of, there's a little pinch of phosphorus, and I went to a garden supply store, and we just want to put in just a little pinch of that and get it all stirred around. And oh yes, then I got the iron, some iron tablets from the drugstore, and some multiple vitamin tablets that have the vitamin A and the thiamine and the riboflavin and the niacin and the calcium in them. And there, that's quite a nice fine powder, isn't it? And we'll pour that in. And then the only one I'm missing, I think, is the potassium, and there's a lot of potassium in bananas. And my husband told me that salt was the same chemical composition, so I'll put in a good portion of that and get it all stirred around. Now, what do you think? I think I must need some water. It's kind of dry. It doesn't really say water, but I guess I'll just put some in because I want it to look like a banana. Well, maybe it'll smell more like a banana once I get it into the skin.
Hi, Janice. Here's your funnel that you asked me to bring for you.
Great. Dr. Neblett, are you able to stay and help for a minute?
Sure. No problem. What are you making?
Well, why don't you guess?
I don't know. Looks like a yellow something.
Yeah, okay. Well, put the funnel over top and maybe you'll guess as we go.
Okay.
I'm trying to make something.
You're making some... Yeah?
Yeah. I am making a banana. Do we have enough in here yet?
I don't know what you're doing, so
well, we're
that's
making
fine.
a banana, Dr. Neblett.
Yeah, okay.
Here, I'll scrape the bottom off, and because we might want to make more than one banana. Do you want to taste it?
Not really.
Well, why don't you? Here, this spoon is clean. I was just stirring with it.
Okay. All right. It's terrible.
And I'm going to try it too. It's fun making this.
It doesn't taste like a banana, does it?
Oh, ooh, it just makes me shudder. Oh.
I agree.
You know, before I started, I kind of felt that I couldn't make a banana but I wanted to try anyways. But I really think I've learned something today.
Only God can make a banana.
Well, Darlene and Caitlin, I'd like you to meet my friends.
Hi.
And Darlene, I know you love gardening because I see your beautiful garden out here. And what can you tell us about what you're doing and how your flowers grow?
Well, right now I'm cultivating the ground so that we can plant these pansies. And right here are some zinnias. This is a phlox and a Gerber. We're going to plant these in here. And if you dig up the soil, it aerates it, and that helps the plants to grow better.
Aerating the soil, that's kind of loosening it and getting...
Right, and getting, well, in fact, look, here's a worm. He does the same thing. That's God's aerator. Did you see the worm, Caitlin? So he goes through the soil and he loosens it for us.
And makes little tunnels in it.
And that helps the rain and the water that we give the plants to go down to the roots.
And the nutrients probably in the water too.
Right, and plus we add fertilizer. So that helps too.
So God has his own little ways to make his plants and flowers grow.
Yes, he does. Isn't that wonderful? You know, flowers are probably the only true gift of joy that God gave us. Most everything else that he created, our trees we use to build our houses with and make paper, and our animals, each one is needed to offset the other one. But flowers really are there just for our pleasure.
God is sure wonderful to make flowers. And then after you plant these, then you'll be watering them, right? Because they need the sunshine and the soil and the water.
Although there are some plants that can get by without too much sun.
So you have to be careful to plant them in the right places, I suppose.
Yes, you do. Some need more shade than others. Some need all shade. If you were to plant some of the ferns in full sun, they would die.
So it sounds like God has made all the flowers each to be a little bit different.
Right.
And they have different needs. And then I guess they look different and we can enjoy them.
Right. And you can enjoy them in different places.
You know, that reminds me of people.
That's true.
Because people are all different and yet we're each special.
Look at how the flowers grow. They're beautiful and lovely, bringing smiles to people everywhere. And just like all these flowers, God made you oh so special, beautiful and loved within his care. I never have to worry, he's always loving me, just like the flowers never worry. That's how caring God can be. Look at how the flowers grow, they're beautiful and lovely, bringing smiles to people everywhere. And just like all those flowers, God made you oh so special, beautiful and loved within his care. You're beautiful and loved within his care.
Hey kids, if you love all the fun things you get to do with Janice and her friends, you'll flip over this. It's Janice's activity book. Loaded with fun, this book teaches scripture through mazes, puzzles, dot-to-dot games, coloring, and more. And the best part is, it's free! Let's take a look inside. The scripture on this page says, Jesus Christ is the same yesterday, today, and forever. Now, let's circle the pictures that are the same. That's right, you've got the idea. There are many more fun-filled activities in this book just waiting for you. By the way, did I mention it's free? To get your very own copy, have your mom or dad write to Janice's Attic Activity Book, care of 3ABN, P.O. Box 220, West Frankfort, Illinois 62896, or call 1-800-752-3226. Don't wait, order yours today.
Hi, glad you're back. Jan and I have just been talking about different seeds. These are radish seeds and they're real tiny. And these are pea seeds and these are bean seeds. And you can get seeds at practically even grocery stores. They're real easy to find. And Jana, I wanted to ask you about these little bean seeds. If I plant this, which way will the root always grow?
Down.
And which way will the leaves always grow?
Up.
Up. Is that always?
Yes.
It is always. Why don't you start doing the little experiment, okay? Now for this experiment, it's a fun one that you can do at home. You need a clear cup, and then you put just a regular piece of paper towel around on the inside, and then stuff it with regular cotton balls, and Jana will keep going, and while she's going, I'm going to show you one that we've already made. And when you put in the bean seeds, put them sideways, put them upside down, put them right side up. You'll notice that for a bean seed, if you put it this way, this is really the easiest way for the root to grow down, right from this little white part right here. That's the easiest way for the root to grow down. But even if you put it this way, which you can see, here's one right here that was planted more like this, the root just went around and headed down anyways. You can do it with other seeds too, pea seeds. These are with pea seeds. And when you do it, always make sure that you have to moisten the paper towel and the cotton balls. And you have to use quite a bit of water because the cotton balls are really thirsty and they really soak up the water. And so you want, and you kind of have to pour it in and then wait a little bit and pour some more in because to get it all moist everywhere. And this, because the seeds won't sprout unless they're wet. And then you have to put them in a dark place and leave them there for a few days and just check on them every day to make sure that they're wet and to make sure that you can see what's happening, because it's really fun to see how it starts to happen. Now this is a plant that you can see the roots are down and the leaves are up. And this is one that I did a little experiment with. I covered it with plastic wrap and I laid it on its side like this. And the window was over here, okay? And if you look carefully, you'll see that the leaves all turned around to face the window. And see how they're not at all facing this way? They're just facing this way because they wanted to get to the light. Whereas this plant, it was just in regular light. And so the leaves are facing all different directions because the light was able to come to all the different leaves. It's so fascinating how God has made the plants to know what to do to always get to the light. Well, let's continue working on this. Well, my friend Dennis is here.
Hi, Jan. It's good to be here again.
Oh, I'm just glad you're here, and it looks like you're ready to sing.
The song's called It's a Miracle.
Can I join in if I know it?
What drives the stars without making a sound? Why don't they crash when they're spinning around? What holds me up when the world's upside down? I know it's a miracle. It's a miracle just to know God is with me wherever I go. It's a miracle as big as can be that He can make a miracle of me. When a spring makes a brook and a brook makes a stream, the stream makes the river water as fresh as can be. But who puts the salt in when it gets to the sea? I know, I know, I know it must be a miracle.
Dr. Neblett, we've just been talking about plants and how amazing they are. It's been fascinating.
It certainly is. And something even more amazing is our brain.
Ooh.
I brought one with me. It's upside down, so I'm going to hold it carefully. You see how it is. Our brains are important to do a lot of things in our body. It goes like this.
Ooh, right like that, okay.
It controls both the voluntary and involuntary actions of our body. I'll explain that. And it also controls our senses. Our sight, smelling, hearing, tasting, feeling.
Okay.
All of those things are controlled by the brain. Well, let me give you an example of what I mean by voluntary and involuntary.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
Pick up that jug for me.
Just pick it up? Okay.
Now, what you just did was voluntarily moved your muscles over there and picked it up. If your brain wasn't working, you couldn't do that. It tells your muscles exactly how far to go and exactly how to pick it up.
I chose to do it.
That's right. And several times while I've been talking to you now, your eyes have been blinking.
Oh.
That's an example of involuntary, that your brain is also in control of. And we all don't think about it, but we just keep breathing on a regular basis, and our brain helps to control that too. You could breathe faster if you wanted to, but even when you're asleep, you are going to go ahead and breathe.
Without thinking. So that's involuntary, the things you don't think about.
Now, that's kind of a simple way of explaining it, but there are some more complicated things that our brains can do as well. And I'd like to try an experiment with you, if you'd be all right with you.
Oh, okay. What do I need to do?
Okay, what I'd like you to do for me is just to stand just a little bit away from the table and turn around and close your eyes.
Close my
I'm
eyes.
going to do my experiment right now.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yeah, what are you going to do? You popped a balloon.
I certainly did, and you jumped.
I know, I always jump when balloons pop.
Well, you see, our brain kind of helps us to protect ourselves. When scary things happen, we kind of jump and we get ready to fly away if we have to from danger.
I didn't even think about jumping, I just jumped.
That's right. Now, there's some things that our brain helps us to do automatically. Like when you're a baby and you begin to learn how to walk, you don't know how to do it just right.
Right.
But as time goes on, you get to walk and you don't think about it. You just walk and put one foot in front of the other. Well, there's some other things that you can do automatically, and your brain sort of takes over. And I'd like to try that one with you, if you will.
Well, we just did one.
I won't scare you this time.
Okay.
Okay, stand over here again for me. This time just face me, and I want you to close your eyes.
Again?
And I'll tell you when to open them, yes.
Would you trust him? Okay, I will.
Okay. All right, are you ready?
Yeah.
Open your eyes.
Oh!
Now, you see, you just automatically went up and caught that orange that I threw to you.
Yeah. I didn't think about it.
You didn't think about it. Your brain, however, thought about it just as quickly and moved your muscles right in there, and you caught that.
You know, I think that our brain and our whole body, I just think they're incredibly made.
And to think that God did this for us.
My body is great, God made it that way, a self-contained machine. My body runs well if I treat it right, the most amazing thing you've seen. My nose can smell, my eyes can see, that's more than a computer. My ears can hear, and my legs can walk, and my smile just makes me cuter. My body is great, God made it that way, a self-contained machine. My body runs well if I treat it right, the most amazing thing you've seen. The most amazing thing you've seen.
Did you know that one of the best ways to become a good friend of Jesus is by spending personal time with him every day? Well, adults do that by praying and by reading their Bibles. But if you can't read, it's kind of hard, isn't it? Or maybe you just like listening to tapes. Well, here's a fun way to have your very own devotions every morning when you get up. Janice has made these morning time devotions for her kids and for you, complete with songs, prayers, and stories. For more information, have your parents write to Morning Time Ministries, Box 208A, Kitwanga, that's Kitwanga, British Columbia, V0J2A0, or call 1-800-263-7671. Here's the number again, 1-800-263-7671.
Hi, Darlene.
Oh, hi, Janice.
I see you're at it again.
Oh, I guess, huh?
What kind of flowers are these?
These are sweet peas. Did you smell them? Aren't they
Oh,
fragrant?
I love sweet
Oh, I
peas.
do too.
They don't have peas on them to eat, though, do
No, these are just the flowers.
they? Just to enjoy. Isn't
Right.
God good?
Isn't that wonderful?
How do sweet peas bloom, and other flowers and plants, too?
Well, you know how we planted them back over there. They grow, and in time they provide the little blossoms like this, and then those begin to open, and then the bees come and pollinate them. They go from flower to flower. Some flowers need it, some don't. fruit especially needs pollination. This is an orange. You see the open bud there? And they're making honey for us anyway.
Yum.
So then they'll fly from this flower to this flower, and in the process they're carrying pollen from one flower to the other. And that's what makes the little oranges begin to grow. In fact, you can see one right there starting. So,
and so if all of the buds on this tree got pollinated, then there would be oranges.
there would be oranges all over. In fact, the lemon tree right there is much too profuse.
They're thick.
Yes, the bees did a good job.
They did.
Yes.
Well, you know, it just amazes me how God has made all the parts of nature to work together, the bees with the flowers
Right.
and the trees, and that's amazing. Do you think that any of the blossoms in your garden worry about whether the bees will come and pollinate
I'm certain they don't. I'm sure I worry more than they do.
I think maybe we shouldn't worry,
I think you're right.
because I think if the flowers don't worry, we don't need to
That
worry
is
either.
true.
I never have to worry. He's always loving me. Just like the flowers never worry. That's how caring God can be. Look at how the flowers grow. They're beautiful and lovely, bringing smiles to people everywhere. And just like all those flowers, God made you oh so special, beautiful and loved within His care. You're beautiful and loved within His care.
Oops. That's better.
Are you ready for a story? Yes. Now remember, in Longview Village, there were many mysterious things happening, and Roy has finally made it into the cave, and he's around the table in that secret chamber visiting with Oscar and Bruce. And he's just asked them if they know anything about all the things that have been happening in the village. And they kind of laughed, and they said, well, you know, Roy, we figured you were going to catch us someday because you were so intent on catching the person. And Roy said, but tell me about it. What about the horse? What about the boat? What about the penknife? Can't you just tell me about it? And finally they said, okay, well, you know, with Father and Mother away, we just wanted to do something kind of fun and kind of exciting. But you know, we knew that whatever we did, we had to be honest about it. And do you remember that time, Roy, that you asked us how we slept? And he said, yeah. And they said, well, remember our answer? And Roy said, yeah, you said you sleep like tops. And they said, that's right. We were careful not to tell a lie. No matter what we did through all of this, we always made sure that we told the truth. Well, let me tell you about it. And so they started telling. The boat had been washed away in a storm, they guessed, and they had found it one time when they were out fishing and it had a hole in it. So they patched it and brought it back. That was easy. The horse, now that was a little bit harder because it would neigh so much when they tried to get it back into the stable that they were sure that the people would wake up and hear them putting him back in, but somehow they managed. And then the cork life jacket. That wasn't too hard at all because they were just out fishing again one day and they found it, and so then they were able to bring it back and hang it up. And then they said, do you know how much fun we had pushing that oar through the window for old Sandy? But we had no idea it would hit him on the chest. They didn't know it was right by his bed. And then as far as Miss McKay's Pete, they had so much fun doing that, but they had no idea that she wouldn't find it. They just thought that she'd see it right away. They didn't know she wouldn't find it, and that made them feel kind of bad, but they were glad when she found it. And then, as far as tarring the boat, that was easy. They had seen old Corky and Roy trying to do it, and they just felt so bad at how badly Corky was feeling, that it was no problem to go and do that. That was a fun one. Now the clock, that was a little bit harder because they had not fixed very many clocks in their lives, but somehow they managed to, get it fixed. And then Roy says, look what I have here. And he pulls out the rusty clock spring from his pocket. And they said, how did you get that? And he said, well, I found it on the hillside. And so that story went by. And then they said about Oscar and the window pane. Remember in the manse, the window pane? Well, Oscar had passed by soon after the storm, and he had noticed it, and he noticed the size of the hole, and he remembered that in their workshop at home they had a little piece of glass just that size, so that was easy. And then the bell fry, they said, we had so much fun climbing up there like monkeys and fixing that bell. And they said that they just went home and roared with laughter, imagining how the whole village must have been so surprised over that. And they went on telling about different things, and then about the cow. Well, that was easy, doing the cow and the table. The reason they hadn't fixed the table the whole way the first night was because they had run out of screws. And then Roy came to the big question. He said, tell me, why did you do all this, though? And they said, well, with Mom and Dad gone, we wanted to have some fun. And we wanted to do something special with our secret cave that we had found. It just seemed like such a special room, and we wanted to do something fun with it. And we remembered the verse in the Bible where God talks about helping others. And we thought to ourselves, that'd be fun to help people. But then we thought, if people know that it's us that's helping them, they'll always be saying, oh, thank you for doing that for me. Oh, you nice boy, thank you for doing that for me. And we didn't want people to always be thanking us, because you feel kind of funny when people tell you thank you. So we decided to do it in secret. And the boys went on talking late into the night of all the fun they had had doing good for others. Do you guys think you'd like to do nice things like that for others? Yes. It'd be fun. And I think you would too. And by the way, did you remember our mystery word? You're right, it's flowers. Flowers are beautiful, and they do make us happy, and they do remind us of God's power. If God can make a flower, and if God can take care of a flower, then God can take care of you. And He will. I'll see you next time.